Okay, so if you've been on the internet at all lately, there is no way you've missed it. You know the one, the lone penguin just walking away from its colony, marching out into this huge, empty, icy nothingness. It completely blew up, right? But what is actually going on in that clip? Let's get into the real story behind this scene that, let's be honest, felt a little too relatable.
The original voiceover that goes with the clip is, well, it's pretty haunting. It paints this picture of this incredible drama. A single animal seemingly deciding, that's it, I'm done, and walking away from everything towards a frozen wasteland. And it leaves you with this one huge question. Exactly. Why? Why on earth would it do that? Is this some deep philosophical act of rebellion? A moment of pure despair? Or is there something else happening here that we're all missing? We're going to break down what's really going on. To really get to the bottom of this, we have to go back to the beginning. We need to figure out where this footage even came from. Because, this isn't some new clip that a tourist just happened to catch on their phone. It turns out this scene is from a documentary called Encounters at the End of the World, made all the way back in 2007 by the famous German filmmaker Werner Herzog. Originally, it was meant to be this really thought-provoking, almost artistic moment, a meditation on how weird and beautiful Antarctica can be. Yep, you're seeing that right. 2007. So this footage isn't new at all. I mean, we're talking nearly 20 years old. For the longest time, it was just this quiet, artsy scene in a documentary that, frankly, not a lot of people saw. And then, bam, seemingly overnight, the internet grabs it and gives it this whole new life. And this timeline just lays it all out perfectly, doesn't it? For almost 2 decades, it's just a piece of cinema history. Then, all of a sudden, it pops up on TikTok, on Instagram, and it gets a completely new story, a brand new identity, and a new name. So this is the point where the story really pivots, right? It goes from being a documentary scene to a full-blown cultural moment. The internet didn't just share the clip, it completely remixed its meaning, giving this poor penguin a whole philosophical outlook on life. And the identity that stuck? The Nihilist Penguin. Now, obviously, that's just a metaphor. The internet started calling it that because its long, lonely walk just seemed to perfectly capture that feeling of rejecting everything, of just walking away because, what's the point? So why now? Why did this clip go so viral at this exact moment? Well, it became the perfect blank canvas for all of us to project our own feelings onto. It stopped being about a penguin and it started being about, well, us. It became about that modern burnout, that sense of isolation, that urge to just turn around and walk away from the whole routine. And you can see it plain as day in the memes themselves. People weren't just watching an animal, they were literally seeing themselves. That penguin became a symbol for every single person who's ever wanted to just quietly check out of all the social pressure and the day-to-day grind. Okay, so while the internet was having a field day creating this new philosophical icon, scientists and biologists were looking at the exact same footage and seeing something totally different. And this is where the story the internet tells and the story science tells really go in opposite directions. I mean, the contrast here is just night and day. On one side, you've got the meme's narrative, right? The story of a conscious choice, of deep human emotions like despair. But then you look at the scientific reality, and it's much more about biology. Experts are saying this is probably caused by something like disorientation, maybe the penguin is sick, or it just, made a wrong turn. And yeah, scientists are pretty quick to remind us that what we're doing here has a name. It's called anthropomorphic projection. We're basically dumping our complex human thoughts and feelings onto an animal that just doesn't operate that way. It's not choosing to reject the meaning of life, it's probably just lost. So, at the end of the day, what we're really watching is a biological oddity. It's a rare thing, for sure, but it's something that can be explained by animal behavior. It's an ecological anomaly, not a penguin having an existential crisis in the middle of Antarctica. So if the meme isn't really about what the penguin is thinking, then what is it about? Well, this whole thing tells us way more about ourselves and our internet culture than it ever could about penguins. When you really boil it down, a few things become super clear. One, we're just wired to see stories everywhere, to project our own feelings onto things we don't understand. Two, the internet runs on emotion. A simple, relatable picture is always going to spread faster than a complicated scientific fact. And three, for a meme to take off, how it makes you feel is way more important than what it actually is. This table really sums the whole thing up perfectly. The reality
It's an old documentary clip of a probably confused animal. The internet's version, it's a deep story about a philosophical penguin. So the meme was never really about the penguin at all. It was just a mirror reflecting how we were all feeling.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. The next time you see something just completely take over the internet, it's worth asking yourself, are we learning something new about what we're looking at? Or are we really just learning something new about ourselves?